Spartan Beast Dallas recap video. I'm going to be giving you a good perspective of what the race was like in the most raw form as possible. However, I do have my notes, so if it cuts, it's because I'm referring to my notes and I don't want you to have to like stare at my head going like, and trying to figure out how to read.
Today, Junior!
I will have clips later on in the video of obstacle tips and tricks, so stick around for that. It was a tough race. It was the first of this kind of race that I've ever done. 8:30 in the morning, very humid. You can smell the impending storm in the air, that metallic, moist air that's been electrically charged with lightning. But being out of law enforcement for a long time now, there aren't a lot of opportunities that I get to like bring in some adrenaline to my life.
Spread your shit! Pussy's on the pavement, fellas!
Being 41 years old, father of 3 girls, pretty mellow life. One of you guys asked, did you do this race alone or did you do it with friends? And if you did it with friends, did you guys just do it the whole way together? I drove to Dallas Friday morning before the race. I went there to pick up my friends, Lindsay Bartow and Eric Gomez. They're gonna do the race with me. Follow both of them on Instagram. They're very entertaining, highly energetic people. Lindsay has done several Spartan races in the past, and Eric is training for a 100-mile race in February. Go follow them. Great guys to get inspiration from. Back to the Spartan race. So I drove up to Dallas, and as I was driving up to Dallas, my right calf was giving me some problems. Could have been like a small adhesion, a knot. I didn't know what it was, but whatever it was really getting to my head because I had trained 9 months for this race. And now I'm feeling pain in my right calf, which wasn't entirely new because I was feeling pain the entire training process in my right calf and as we go further in my right knee. But to get it before the race, that was kind of a mind fuck. And I wasn't super psyched about that. But anyway, I tried to ignore it, figured I'll stretch it out, do something before the race, I don't know. Back to the question of, did you guys do this race together? We did it together in the sense of we started the race together, but our mindsets were we were gonna do this race individually. We weren't holding hands or having a kumbaya moment through this entire track. That's not how it was gonna go. If I couldn't do something by myself, I was not gonna get help. And if one of us was faster or we're gonna run our best race, sorry guys, we're leaving you in the dust. What we said to each other before they said go was, we'll see you at the finish line. And however that played out is how it played out. So the Spartan Beast is 13.1 miles at least, and it's 30 obstacles. If you fail an obstacle, then you have to run a penalty loop, which adds time and mileage to your race. All in all, I failed 4 obstacles. I had to do the penalty loop 4 times. This added about a half mile to my overall total. So from 13.1, I actually ended with 13.67 miles. My tip for these penalty loops is just take it, take your punches, get them done, run them, and get back on the course. Don't put your dick in the dirt because, oh, I failed, and it doesn't matter. Just run your race. Throughout the race, how I spoke about failing these obstacles, I'm a heavy guy. I'm 215 pounds. I thought I was gonna have a lot of trouble with the monkey bars, but surprisingly, I did really well in the monkey bar portion. And I'm going to attribute this to me strengthening my forearms, working on my grip strength weekly throughout my training regimen, which I will get into as we move forward. Ultimately, I finished the race just before that impending storm happened. It was almost as if the clouds were holding out the rain before I could finish. The storms in Texas are no joke. They can be, nothing, or they can be crazy, super crazy. And that day, it was nuts. If Lindsay and Eric were here today because they got trapped in the rain, they would tell you, these are water balloon size raindrops. It got so bad at one point that they had to pull people from the race course because of lightning, and nobody wants to have an electrifying experience in the middle of a ranch and they can't find you. So onto the training and the philosophy behind this whole thing. Prior to all this, I was never really a runner. I mean, I ran a 10K once, and I ran a 5K once, but never 13 miles. That's never been on my radar, and neither has a Spartan race. Just not something I've ever thought about. But Lindsay reached out to me in the beginning of 2025 in January and said, hey, there's a Spartan Beast race in Dallas, Texas. We should do it. And he said, it's 13 miles of running with 30 obstacles in between. And I was like, holy shit. I don't know if that's even possible for me, but I didn't back down. I said, hell yeah, we're gonna do this. I had to start focusing on my cardiovascular endurance and learning how to run long distances efficiently. And this is something new to me. I mean, like, there's science behind everything, but practically this was something new. Being a strength athlete for most of my life, I really wanted to maintain my muscular physique and my strength. I was gonna prioritize that. Even though I was doing all of my running first, before anything else during the day, because I really need to put my energy towards that running, I still was gonna make lifting weights a priority for me. What I did to start was 5 days of strength training, Monday through Friday, and 6 days of running, Monday through Saturday. Over time, this took a toll on my body. It was hard to recover, especially because in March, my third daughter was born. I had to take time off of running and training to be in the hospital for the birth of her, and then the first part of, her life. She's new. She didn't know what the hell's going on around here. My mother-in-law was a huge help. She stayed with us for about a month to really help out with the newborn phase so I could continue training, continue working. And then my wife was very helpful as well. Obviously, she's doing most of the work. That's what happens when babies are born. I continued to train throughout the newborn process. I wasn't getting great sleep because I was trying to help out as much as possible. So that meant sleep was fragmented. You're not getting good sleep. You're not getting good deep sleep for that recovery. So come June, my right knee really started to hurt. It was bad. Like, I couldn't even run anymore. And Jenna realized like I was not recovering very well. So she suggested that she does all the overnights so I could get continuous sleep just so I can recover. All I needed to do was make sure that she could get some good sleep in the mornings. And that small act of teamwork really helped me out to recover. And by mid-July, I was able to get back into running, back onto my schedule. June into July was very light movement, very little running, mostly walking, really allowing some recovery on this knee. Because one thing was, I didn't know what it was. I didn't want to go to the doctor. I didn't want them to say, hey, you can't train anymore, you have an injury. So I decided to auto-regulate that, just decrease volume, decrease intensity. Really, if my knee was hurting, I wasn't going to go crazy. I just needed to keep movement in the knee so it just didn't lock up. Around August, my knee was feeling fine. That's when I really started pushing the distances. In September is when I really started doing the longer distance stuff, like longer than 8 miles. I did a 13.1 mile run one day and it killed me. Like, it made me think like, holy shit, is this possible? Mind you, I'm running in the Texas heat, the Texas humidity. It's rough out here, like it's not an easy climate to run in, especially for a newer runner. So during that run, around mile 8, I really started to die. I had like no energy left. I had to stop at a taco truck on the side of the road in order to get an apple juice and a water just to complete my run. It was rough. And it had me thinking like, is this possible? Can I do this? I mean, the race is in Texas, but I wasn't gonna let it stop me. I just continued to push. I continued to train because I wasn't gonna let this stop me. All of my runs were followed by strength training. My intent behind this was, I know like the obstacles were gonna take a lot of strength work. So you got the endurance aspect of running this entire race. You have the endurance aspect of trying to push through these physical agility obstacles, which are going to require strength. Some of this stuff was like lifting heavy stuff and then like walking long distances and putting it back down. I decided I'm going to do my runs in the morning, and immediately after, I'm going to get inside, drink some Outer Limit pre-workout, which you can go to apogeesteps.com and get some if you would like. I would have that pre-workout and then get right into my lifting. Now, I'm pre-exhausted, I'm low on glycogen stores. I wasn't supplementing with any sugar or anything like that. I really wanted to put myself through the test in order to like really train under exhaustive circumstances. And I think it really paid off because throughout the race, I was having to do these like heavy lifting obstacles or like basically lifting my heavy body while being exhausted, and it paid off. The other thing I learned is there's a lot of guys out there who like will critique my lifting on YouTube or on Instagram, and they'll say like, how is this even functional? You never train anything functional. I will tell you this, you don't have to lift rocks, buckets of rocks, sandbags to be strong at lifting sandbags. You need to build overall strength. Overall strength will transfer into real life scenarios. Use barbells, use dumbbells to lift heavy, and then that strength carries over. The strength is one set of the training, but then the conditioning aspect, which would be the carrying heavy things for longer distances, that's conditioning. Another question I got on Instagram was someone who's followed me for a long time and like knows the progression of my fitness journey, if you want to say. The question was, do you think that you could have done this race in the condition that you were when you first moved to Texas? So to give you guys a little bit of background who don't know me that well, when I first moved to Texas, it was right after I quit my job in law enforcement to basically make sure that my family had a better life out in Texas. When I did that, I lost my identity. My identity was being a canine handler, being a cop.
I am the law, okay? Now hold hands.
What? Why?
Because you don't want an asshole where your face used to be, Waylon Jennings.
So that was gone, and like my purpose was clouded. I didn't really know what I was supposed to be doing, and my fitness followed. During that period, I ended up gaining a lot of weight. I was 255 pounds, 30% plus body fat. For lack of a better term, I was a fat fuck. I don't think I could have performed at the level that I did. I'm someone who likes to compete to be good. I don't just want to do things to do things. Like, I can go walk long distances in my neighborhood. Do I want to do that and pay money and like travel and go do things? No. So in the condition that I was in, I could have completed it. Anyone could have completed this. I saw really out of shape people doing this race, but they're walking. They're most likely failing a lot of these obstacles or maybe not even trying, and that's not me. So yes, I could have completed it. Could I complete it to the standard that I would like? No. This is definitely something that you want to train for. You want to be in good shape for if you're looking to actually get something out of it, I would say. But you know, that's subjective. My nutrition for training and the race were different, kind of. So mostly for training, I was doing a macro split of about 35% protein, 35% carbohydrates, and 30% fat based on percent of calories consumed. With all the running and training, my maintenance calories were probably around 4,000 calories per day based on what my watch was telling me. Calories on your watch can be off, you know, as little as 30%, sometimes more. So it's hard to really tell how many calories you're burning and what your maintenance really is. So the best way to go about that is eat a certain amount. If you start losing a lot of weight, you're eating too little. If you're not gaining weight, you're at maintenance. If you are gaining weight, you're eating a surplus. To be safe, because I wanted to remain lean, but also I didn't want to lose a bunch of muscle, I ate around 3,200 calories a day in that macro split. I paid attention to timing of my carbohydrates during training because you don't want to go into training like this underfueled. So I would go into my training and I'd eat about 100 carbs before my runs. So like when I wake up at like 6 in the morning, I'd have my breakfast. It consists of like protein shake, sometimes eggs, definitely oatmeal, honey, stuff like that. But I was getting 100 grams of carbs before my training would start. After my training, and that's after my run and my lifting, I would have another 100 grams of carbs coming from bread, jelly most likely, because I really like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So I'd eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich after my training, and it would consist about 95 to 100 grams of carbs. And the purpose for that was I'm trying to refill or refuel my muscles with glycogen for tomorrow's training. Because pretty much your breakfast, that's going to help you out in the mornings, but your lunch and your dinner is fueling you for the next day. And when you're training pretty much every day, you want to be fueled for the next day. It's going to drive your performance, and performance will drive your physique. You know, it all falls together. It's a giant puzzle that we all have to put together. Another thing I did was I made sure that I was properly hydrated. Texas heat, I'm training all through the summer. I don't think there was a day where it was really below 100 degrees, and with humidity, the real feel of that temperature was sometimes up probably 112. It was fucking hot. And you're sweating a lot. I made sure to be properly hydrated with electrolytes. So going into this race, I decided to do a carb loading phase. It's called the Bergstrom and Holtman protocol. It was developed in 1967. It's basically where you deplete your carbohydrates for about 3 days through intense work. So I did my run still, the first 3 before the race, the week before the race, really depleted my carbs. And I did not eat any carbs other than like vegetables, which supply almost no carbs. So I was almost doing like carnivore, I'd say, for the first 3 days, driving down my energy source. Then the 2 days before the race, I eat an immense amount of carbs. Each day I ate 1,000 grams of carbohydrates. That consisted of pretty much candy, because to get 1,000 grams of carbohydrates through like real food or whole foods, that's a lot of volume, and it's gonna be really difficult. Like to just get that from rice, you're gonna be uncomfortably full all the time. So I was eating Sour Patch Kids, which, pro tip, Sour Patch Kids will burn the fuck out of your tongue if you're eating an entire bag. Like 7 ounces of Sour Patch Kids will fuck you up. I switched the candies. I did Mike and Ike's one day. I did a whole bag of Cinnamon Bears, which was delicious. Got them from Buc-ee's, real good. But I was eating a lot of stuff that you normally wouldn't eat for health purposes, but this was for performance, okay? There's a difference between eating for health and eating for performance. And I'm here trying to get as much sugar packed into my muscles so that I can sustain my energy through this 13.1 mile, 30 obstacle race. And I'm telling you, it worked. Not once did I feel that I was out of energy at all. In fact, when I got to the end of the race, I looked at my watch and I still had 30% of my stamina, maybe almost 40% of my stamina left. And to be honest, like I felt that way. I did not feel tired at all. I could have kept going and it was crazy. So definitely carb depletion with a carb load phase. Hands down, if you're doing a race above an hour or over 90 minutes, it's the way to go. It sucks in both directions because you're like basically starving yourself from carbohydrates, but then you're overeating on carbohydrates, which is difficult, but it was worth it is what I'm trying to say. It took me 2 hours and 59 minutes and 57 seconds to complete this race. Almost 3 hours, 3 seconds away from 3 hours. So definitely the carb loading, the nutrition side of things, the hydration side of things is what carried me through this race. I'd always known about this back in college when I learned it while getting my exercise science degree, but I had never put it into practical use. And doing that, I'm telling you, the science is there. When it comes to the recovery after the race, dude, I could barely walk. Like right after the race, you know, everything's cooling down. You don't really feel it. But when we got back to Airbnb, got showered up, and then we're gonna go get lunch, my right calf was screaming. It started hurting mile 4 into this race. I just kept telling myself, it's just pain. It's just pain, keep going. I was not gonna let this take me out of the race. I couldn't. I trained 9 months for this race. I was not gonna let this be the thing that prevented me from finishing. Like that's stupid. And then the next day was even worse. I went to HEB in the morning at like 6 in the morning, and I thought I was gonna need one of those motorized carts that like super obese people or old people use. It hurt that bad. And it wasn't until I had that Advil that I realized the rest of my body hurt too. Because the Advil took away the pain, a lot of the pain from my calf, and then I started feeling it everywhere else. My back hurt so bad, my like where your ribs meet your abs, you really felt that. My shoulders, my arms, my biceps from doing the monkey bars. But it was that good pain. It was that pain that you realize you just earned something hard. The recovery, like today is Friday after the race. My calf still hurts, but I'm able to walk around. I've been riding the bike, you know, loosen everything up. I haven't really worked out, kind of just like letting my body really recover. And then next week I'll get back into it. The results of the race. Honestly, when I first got into doing this race or even training for it, I thought, okay, well, I don't know what to expect. I mean, my goal is to finish. I came in 5th out of 146 guys age 40 to 44. And then I came in 40th, 40, out of all 1,200 men of all ages who raced the open class race. That put me in the top 3% of this race. I mean, to come in top 5, that's crazy. I thought, like, I was so surprised and I was very happy. Like, to finish that well for my first time trying this in such a long endurance style race, like, I was pretty happy with that. To exceed my expectations at such a high level really goes along with the slogan of Apogee Performance Nutrition, which is exceed your limits. Did I think I was going to exceed my limits? I mean, just running 13 miles during training, that's exceeding my limits. But to come in top 5 in my age group, that definitely exceeded my limits. Some lessons I've learned or things to think about for the next race. I need to do more trail runs. I was focused more on road running during the training process, mainly because I was new to all this running. So I needed a controlled way of really building up my aerobic capacity. Now that I have the aerobic capacity and to maintain the aerobic capacity, I will be running more trail runs prior to the next race. And the reason for that is I need to build up the ability to run in unstable conditions. Also varying elevations, or terrain. Running on the road, yeah, great, you're gonna save your ankles, but you really should run a trail more than twice to really understand the complexity of trail running and to maybe get your body and joints used to that style of running prior to the race. I'll be practicing more loaded carries. So during the race, there were a lot of things. You had to pick up heavy things and walk distances as fast as you could if you're trying to win. Obviously you can go slow, which some people did, but in my opinion, walking slow with heavy stuff, that's gonna make it harder and longer. All right, tips and tricks to the course and obstacles. And the clip that I'm using is from Glider TV. I will link their whole video in the description below. All right, so this is going to be an inverted ladder. This guy to the left here, he jumps up to the second one, climbs up with his hands like a ladder until he can get his feet across. Now you don't see him, but you go over and climb over this just like a ladder, lowering yourself down just like a ladder. Once you get to the bottom there, the best way is just drop. Okay, so this next one is the corkscrew kind of monkey bar thing. The best way to do this is to go backwards, and this is a tip from Lindsay. Go backwards, head first. That way you can see the next handle coming towards you. This thing twists as you go. So if you're going forward on it, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because you're in an awkward position trying to reach out in front of you. But if you go backwards, it's almost as if the handles come right to your hands. Makes it a hell of a lot easier. Very doable if you practice your grip strength and stuff. This next one is called the scrambler. You got regular monkey bars to begin with, but then there's these egg beater type monkey bars. When you grab these, they're gonna start twisting with your body weight and with your momentum. If you allow them to just stop, you're gonna be coming to a dead stop and you're gonna have to continue having to move yourself forward. So as soon as those start moving, use the momentum and continue through the obstacle. This next obstacle is a rope. I can't remember the name. It's like Tyroline something, but it's pretty difficult. The way she's doing this is the appropriate way. So you're gonna go head first backwards, hanging upside down. You're going to wrap your legs around the rope and use them as basically a slider and pull yourself along the rope all the way to those hanging bells behind you. The faster you can do this, the easier of a time you're going to have because you're not having to hang there so much. I will say, and this was an important tip from Lindsay, get some long compression socks. I would even double them up. The friction from the rope really burns your ankles and your calves, but it's kind of a must do, or you're just pretty much gonna fail this one. Get those socks, pull yourself fast. Don't spend too much time hanging there because you're gonna gas out. Okay, now we got wall jumps. You had various wall jump heights. My tip, run fast, jump to the top, reach for the top, push yourself up over and swing. If you start at the bottom and try to jump, you're not gonna get there. Okay, here's an example of a hill climb. So there's a lot of creeks or washes that you had to descend into, and then you had to climb your way out. Here's an example of how steep of a climb. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but you're pretty much, I would say, at a 70% climb, almost 90-degree angle. But this is where leg strength comes into play. Do a lot of lunges, stuff like that. Really strengthen your legs to get yourself out of those washes. All right, now we have an inverted wall. Okay, watch this guy on the left. He's gonna go, nope, not a good example. Okay, what you're gonna wanna do here is go up to the wall like a ladder. Get your feet onto the second rung there and start pulling yourself up. Just kind of like you're climbing a ladder, but a little bit upside down. Once you get to the top, you're gonna have to swing your leg over, and then you basically just scale down a ramp. Bar crawl. Now I tried to do this one just like army crawl under the barbed wire, but as you go up, you're going up a hill, and as you go up, the barbed wire gets closer and closer to the ground, meaning it gets a little bit more difficult. Now what these people doing are rolling, and I will tell you, this was a good technique. It may not be the most impressive, it may not be the most manly or cool looking, you might look like a fool or a clown, but it works. You roll, you roll, you roll. I will say at the end of little lane here, which is about probably, I don't know, 25, 50 yards long, can't really tell, I was spinning, you are dizzy. So you're gonna have to catch your balance again before you start running, or else you're probably going to run into something. Hercules hoist. Glider TV is doing a good job on this one. Lay back on your back, pull the rope as fast as you can using your arms and your back muscles, and then get it to the top where the knot hits the pulley. Then you lower it down as fast as you can, just don't let it drop. Z walls, you can only touch the pieces of 2x4 with your hands and your feet. You can't put your hands on top of the wall. You can't put your hands or your feet in the little slats. So you have to like scale this wall like Spider-Man. You select your sandbag, guys are 60 pounds, put it up on your shoulder, kind of like this guy, and then you go for a walk. And it's a pretty long walk. You got to go up a pretty high elevation change. So this is again where leg strength comes into play. Start doing your step-ups, start doing your lunges, squats, doing all that. Really build up the butt, build up that leg strength. So this one is easier for you. You're not like some of these people that I saw just sitting, huffing and puffing on the hill, becoming roadblocks. Someone asked, what was the most difficult challenge? And I couldn't find a clip of it, but it's called the Olympus. Google that or YouTube that, figure it out. It's a difficult one. The tip there and the trick is only use the handholds. If you don't use the handholds, you're gonna slip. If you do find it, link the video in the comments below so other people can watch it. I'll pin it to the top. But that was the most difficult one for me. The philosophy of training for a Spartan race is something different than training for bodybuilding or training for a high rocks or a CrossFit meet or just a running race. This is real world capability. I say this because doing this race made me realize this is a good way to train for life, to be capable for the unknown of life. Like as a cop doing Spartan races, it'd be like, boom, the same thing, or even like a firefighter, first responder, military, whatever. You're going to encounter these scenarios most likely at some point in your career. Jumping over walls, climbing fences, having to climb up onto tree limbs, aka monkey bars, or like lift things out of the way, lift your partners. Your partner gets injured, you have to drag and lift your partner. These are all things that in that career or that world, this is a good way to train. I know a lot of cops do like CrossFit or maybe do high rocks now because that's trendy, but to do it more like a Spartan race, I believe that's more adjacent to the job. For the regular person, the people that don't do this shit every day, as a parent, being capable to do these things, to like jump really high, run long distances, lift heavy things. Just think about this, and the percentage of this happening is small, but it could happen. Say you get into a car accident. I know when emergencies happen, first responders are not right there. You need to be capable to be your own first responder, your own rescuer. And guess what? If you have your kids in the car, you have to rescue them too. There's other lives that are important here. And training in this way, training to be good under stress, have a high level of endurance, have a high level of strength, and be able to apply all these things within the same scenario is what training for capability is. You are a human being. You need to be capable of surviving whatever life brings your way. And I believe because of doing this race, training for a Spartan race is that exact way of training. Train for capability. Performance equals preparation. Make sure you are prepared. And this goes for everyday life as well. Your performance in real life, when it counts, is equal to how you are prepared for life when it hands you shit. Okay, thank you for watching this video. I hoped those tips and tricks and ways of training helped you out. I encourage you to train for capability, not comfort, not aesthetics. you never know when it's gonna count. I encourage you to also sign up for a Spartan race. The next Spartan race that I'll be doing is in June. It will be in Montana. I'll be doing it with Lindsay and Eric, and we're gonna bring our wives. They're gonna do the race as well. Go follow Lindsay and Eric on Instagram, and you can follow me too at Ryan Padilla Fitness. If you got any questions about anything, hit me up in the DMs. I'll gladly respond to your questions. Until then, thank you. Next video will probably be about my training going forward. So stay tuned. See you in the next one.